Welcome to this week's segment of the week. This week, we're going to be doing Call It or Scrap It. Now, if you don't know how that works, Debbie has given us a question, and my dad and I almost said Austin. My dad and I are going to say if we would rather call it, like agree, we're going to call that play, or scrap it, say no, we disagree. Debbie has put the question in the doc, and this week's question is, the San Francisco 49ers will miss the playoffs. Do you call it or scrap it?
Let me go first.
Go for it.
I'm gonna call it. They're in a tough division. They got a tough schedule, and they're just not looking like a team that can make it right now.
I'm also gonna call it.
Yeah.
They're fourth in their division right now, but they are at 5-5. Three teams are tied for 5-5 in that division, and the Cardinals are 6-4. But if you look at the Niners' upcoming schedule, they got the Packers this week. And then they got the Bills the next week. And then a couple weeks later, they got the Lions. They maybe will win 1 out of 2 games. Even 2 out of 3 of those games might be a struggle because that'd put them at 10-6 if they win out the rest of the season. And that's not even promising because you have to play 3 more divisional games that they've struggled in this year. They don't have the tiebreaker against any of those teams. I believe they're 0-3 in their division this year. So they have a very hard path to the playoffs. If they win out, they're obviously in, but they have such a difficult rest of the season, and they've struggled so far this year. Brandon Ayuk, missing him has really been something that people didn't think was going to be too big of a deal, but it has been. They're 5-5. Nick Bosa's injured. We'll see how much time he has to miss, but if he misses any extended time, that's a massive loss for this team because they're a completely different team when he's out there. So I agree with you. I'm going to call this one, and unfortunately, a team that was in the Super Bowl last year, I don't think they're going to make it this year.
Yeah. On one counterpoint with that is, even though they are right now technically 4th in their division, they are tied with the Rams and the Seahawks. They're only 1 game behind the Cardinals. So if they do, catch lightning in a bottle and start playing like we know that the Niners can play, they could still win their division, only being one game back. But I'm gonna have to call it. I'm gonna say too. I don't think they're gonna make it.
Mm-hmm. One thing that we see a lot is the Super Bowl hangover. When you go to the Super Bowl and you lose, it is really hard to not even make it back, but make the playoffs the next year. We've seen it so many times. We saw the Panthers in Super Bowl 50 just fall off the face of the earth after that. We saw the Bengals, I believe they still went to the playoffs the next year, but like teams, the Eagles fell off last season. I mean,
it's very common. It's a crazy stat how often it happens, almost every year.
Yeah, and it's something that you don't really think like that. That makes no sense. You're pretty much the same team. You have that experience now. You should be more motivated, but teams just can't get over that hump, and we're seeing that this season with the 49ers.
The one team that got over that hump in the last few years was the Chiefs. When they lost to the Bucks, they came back next year, and again, they were amazing. But other than that, it's very common theme.
Yeah. So there you have it. We both agree. We called it. 49ers will miss the playoffs. They have a really tough road ahead. So we'll see this last month of the season, how the season shakes out, and see if we were right or wrong. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of K&A Football. Dad, thank you for taking Austin's place this week. It was really fun. I know you have a busy life, busy day, but thanks for taking the time to do this.
This was a blast. Something I always treasure to do something like this with the Kadin, and like I said, the American dream, sitting down with your son and talking about football. It doesn't get much better than that, So hopefully we were entertaining for you, and I hope I can do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next week for week 12.